Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Let's Play Money podcast. I'm Coach Mara, author of The Little Books of Big Business and creator of the Let's Play Money activity packets. Today, we're talking about something every parent thinks about at some point. How do we help our kids figure out what they want to do with their lives? As children grow, the questions start to change. What am I good at? What classes should I take? Should I go to college? Should I start a business, learn a trade? How do I know which path is right for me? The truth is, finding your path isn't just about choosing a career. It's about discovering your strengths, building confidence, trying new experiences, and learning the life skills that help you succeed no matter where you end up. That's why I'm excited to welcome today's guest, life coach Tyra Woodall, who works with teens as they navigate those important decisions about their future. Together, we're talking about career exploration, confidence, financial literacy, and why the conversations we have with kids today can shape the opportunities they create tomorrow. Whether you're raising an elementary-aged entrepreneur, a middle school dreamer, or a teenager who's starting to think about life after graduation, I think you'll find plenty of ideas and encouragement in today's conversation. Let's jump in. All right, welcome, Coach Tyra. I am so excited that you're here to join me today. We are going to talk about what you do helping teens and young adults find their life path. But before we start and dive into that really juicy topic, which I'm anybody that knows me knows how super passionate I am about kids finding their right path. I want to talk just about a little bit about you and your background. So you've been in the coaching field for about the last 10 years, held your certifications and background in psychology and so forth. But take me back to when you were 10, 11, 12. What did you want to be when you grew up?
I think when I was 10 or 11, I wanted to be a teacher for sure. I admired teachers, wanted to be a teacher, explored that later in life. That's not my calling, but that's
Okay,
what
that wasn't. And how about business? Did you have lemonade stands, babysitting? What did you do growing up?
definitely did lemonade stands every time my parents had a garage sale, made some money that way.
Nice.
Then during the school year and the summer, a lot with my best friend, we had a jewelry making business. So we did the little beads as well as collected old jewelry from our grandparents, like our grandmoms, and made that into new jewelry and sold that. We had business cards. We set up little stands at our parents' work. Yes, we tried hard.
That's exciting. What do you think you learned through the process of that business?
That money making is difficult and that you really need a plan and not just some beads and try to sell it. Selling isn't necessarily the hard part, that having a plan to make a profit and to keep it going, that's the difficult part.
Okay. Okay. That fits really well into our topic today because you are a planner.
Yes,
You help people plan, right?
definitely.
So let's talk about this. What led you to start helping teens discover their future plans?
So I started life coaching and I worked with two different businesses, two different really nonprofits. And I started noticing when I was coaching teens and young adults that they didn't have a plan or they didn't know the basics to make a plan, like scheduling and budgeting and time management, or their basic needs that they had and values that they had. So slowly started developing kind of a program to help them figure these things out so that they can make a wiser choice for what they wanted to go to college for, or which college they want to go to, or what career path they wanted to take, or what business they wanted to start.
Wow, that's so interesting. What do you think that these kids, teens, are most worried about when they think about adulthood?
I think they're all worried about succeeding in one way or another, and it looks different for everybody, but they want to know, am I making the right choices for longevity? I want to pick a career and stay halfway close to what I majored in or starred in or something and not change my mind multiple times. And they also want to know, can I afford a lifestyle like I've had? Can I keep going with what I want, what my dreams are, what my ambitions are, what the fun things are also?
Do you talk during the coaching sessions with them about lifestyle? Is that an awareness that comes up?
They seem to bring it up for the most part, and they do have an awareness of, I want to be able to pay my bills, I want to own land, I want to own a house. That's pretty consistent theme with everybody.
And so then how about the pressure? Do you think kids feel a lot of pressure to have their whole lives figured out?
I think they do, especially by the time they graduate high school. Everybody kind of has told them what to do for a while. These are the classes you're going to take for the most part. This is what you're going to get up and do for the most part. You're going to have summers off from school and you need to do something that's guided for them. And then at 18, we look at them and we're like, what are you going to do? And they're like, I don't know. You've been telling me what we're going to do for so
Mhm.
long that they don't really know. Or some of them know college is my path, but they don't know which college, or they know college is not my path, but they don't know which career or which trade. So they feel pressure all of a sudden sometimes to figure it out when if they could have been making different choices or trying out different things earlier, then maybe wouldn't feel so much pressure or would feel a little bit more confident about their decisions.
That's really interesting observation. And I do want to ask you about parents before they get to this place of these big decisions, these big life transitions. What are ways that parents can help teens identify their strengths and interests?
I think for them, that's letting them try, watching what your child is interested in, having a conversation with them, noticing what excites them, noticing what they're self motivated about, what they want to do more than other things, or what they're willing to go look for on their own, things like that.
Yeah, I'll insert a little story here. I remember when my younger son, who's in his mid-20s now, was in early high school, maybe he was a sophomore, junior, and he was thinking he was on one track. He'd had an opportunity to experience kind of a mentorship program in the engineering field, thinking, okay, I'm running towards that track. But he was also going to the gym and he was listening to books on Audible when he worked out, and everything he read was a business book. And
Mm-hmm.
so, seeing what he was leaning towards his interest, I pointed it out to him. I said, just because you're doing this one thing over here, I really see your interest. Have you is that door open in any way? And in fact, he did end up going to more of a financial business type route through college versus engineering, just because we started having those conversations. So maybe I did
Mm-hmm.
one little thing right there. That's good.
For sure.
Yeah. How about other signs that a teen has found something they're naturally drawn to? What are some signs, what they're listening to, like I did, or what any other
Mhm.
signs you can think of?
I still think big on the self motivation. They want to do it, or again, they have energy for it. They're not distracted while doing it, or reluctant to go, or just things like that. Looking for what they're naturally drawn to and having that conversation because they could be naturally drawn to. Maybe your son was naturally drawn to engineering because he admired an engineer he knew. So maybe the conversation isn't, I want to be an engineer. It's like, what did the person he admire what did he see in that person that he relates to, that he liked, that he did admire? Maybe it wasn't that he was an engineer. Maybe it was he seemed like a good businessman. He could talk to people. He could engage. I don't know what it was, but just having those conversations and seeing what is it that you are drawn to? What is it that excites you? What is it that motivates you?
Yeah, those are great coaching questions. I love those. How about the difference between choosing a career versus this building a life or lifestyle? Do you have discussions with kids about the difference of that, or how does that come up?
We do when we talk about life balance because it's fascinating. Some people, these two are separate, right? Some people, it's like I have a career and then I also have a life and a lifestyle. Some people, it's very much one thing. They need their career and life and lifestyle to be intertwined, or it just is in their brain for whatever reason. It is intertwined. So for some people, picking a career is much more difficult for them because it's like, what is my life calling? What am I going to do for the rest of my life? Some people, it's like, I want a job that makes this much money so I can afford this boat, this house, this car. It just makes sense to them. And those two things are, for the most part, separate. One gets them to the other goal. But some teens and young adults, obviously adults too, it is separate or it is together. You just have to talk to your teen or young adult and figure out how closely those are enmeshed.
Right, right. Yeah, so I was going to ask you about financial literacy and how does that change the way teens think about their future? I think you're already alluding to that, the lifestyle versus knowing what they want. How about conversations parents should have before kids graduate related to money? What do you think you're seeing missing, or what do you think they should be talking to their kids about?
Definitely basic budget conversations need to happen. What is your income? How are you getting your income? What are your bills? And then bills versus expenses. What do we have to have? We have to have fuel for the car to get to the job. We have to have a place to live. What are their basic things? They have to have a phone if they're paying for the phone. And then what is an expense? We don't have to have the shoes. We don't have to have the new hairstyle. So the difference between those two in a basic budget of what we're making versus what we're spending. Are we in the green? Are we in the red? We got to have that. That's definitely the first conversation. And then after that, I think anything about debt and interest, explaining what debt is and how much interest matters, and especially long term, short term, things like that. That would be the second conversation. And then the third, if they could understand, which it's basic math, but sometimes we forget how long we have to work to get the item we want. How many hours am I working to buy this new pair of jeans? How many hours am I working to go to this concert? How many hours am I working to pay for this car? So we can understand how much it's really costing us in time and energy.
Mm. And that fits really well into my question about kids getting their first paycheck. So some of those lessons can start to happen when they start working. Are kids that are coming to you, are many of them working? Have they had first jobs yet, or where are they in that?
Some of them are working. Not all of them are paying for that many bills, though, which is interesting. So it's hard for them to truly understand budget when they don't have that many bills. If they had something they had to pay for along the way, I think that would help them understand how many hours I'm working for this phone, how many hours I'm working for this, whatever they're interested in. I would definitely say it's having a plan before you receive the paycheck. What
Okay.
are we, like Kat Casey in your book, what she had the different piggy banks. What are we saving? What are we spending? What are we saving up for if there's another section? What are we investing in? What are we giving to the local charity or church or things like that? But having a plan before you get the money, not just getting the money and getting so excited you just spend it all.
Yeah, that's fun. Okay. Thanks for bringing in Cat Casey. We always love a Cat Casey
Oh,
reference. So
yes.
how about that college debt? What kind of conversations are parents and kids having about stepping into college tuition, how all that's being paid for?
I'm not sure we're having enough conversations about that, especially early on, because if you get a surprise that your parents aren't going to help you with college, I think there's a tendency to quit because that seems so overwhelming, especially if you haven't had money talks and you don't understand budgeting and you don't understand interest and percentages or anything. So I think having that talk early on, if you are going to help, if you aren't going to help, what does taking a loan out look like? What does working as you go look like? What does working on campus versus off campus? Like all of those conversations, a lot of it's just about, again, communication, having a plan early on so nobody gets overwhelmed with whatever choice that they have to make or get to make.
Right. That's really wise. So let's talk a little bit about kind of this bridge. I do a lot of work in the financial literacy, and a lot of it comes through the playing entrepreneurship, the farmers market programs, having in lemonade stands and so forth. Why is it important for kids to start career exploration long before high school?
I think the main reason is so they have more options, so they can figure out more things. So they're not making a choice at the last minute with only a little bit of information. They can get information really young with the lemonade stand, farmers market type thing, then translate it into bigger things with more responsibilities. Then they're not as intimidated when they do need to make their own money and make their own choices.
So you have a young one at home. How old is he now? 7?
7, yes.
And has he done any work? Has he had a lemonade stand or What is he doing these days?
He's had his version of a lemonade stand. He's sold pumpkins. He helps his grandfather grow them, and then his grandfather lets him sell them. They've also collected walnuts from all of the neighbors and took a truckload of walnuts to be processed. And I don't think that made as much money as they thought with their thousands and thousands of walnuts. So, yes, he's learned the value of hard work and sweating to earn your few dollars that you earn and how much goes into farm work and just making a little bit of money.
Does he get paid in cash?
He does. He's a big fan of cash.
Kids
Likes
love
to
cash.
collect it, has a basket for it. Yes.
Okay, that's super cool. So that experience that your son's having and other kids have with selling lemonade, working with grandpa, all those things, how does that help shape their career choices, do you think?
I think mainly that just gives them the opportunity to expand their options, to figure out what's out there. Like Kat Casey, if she hadn't have made the brownies to raise money just basically for herself and her interest, then she would have never met Miss Smith, who would have taken a bite of the brownies, who introduced her to Mr. Adams, right? So if your
Mm.
kids are getting out into the world and they're doing the lemonade stand and it's just at the street, then Miss So and so that is hiring at the YMCA down the road when they're 15 or 16 is, I'll remember you. I remember you had your little lemonade stand or whatever. It's getting them out in the world. It's getting them to have conversations, talking to adults, looking people in the eye, just all kinds of good exposure so that they can succeed later on and everything doesn't feel so intimidating and overwhelming.
That is really one of the golden moments, I think, of this conversation we're having. I'm getting goosebumps on my arm. I really do think it's about building that network of
Mm-hmm.
your life. And I don't have a statistic written down here, but I recall there's something about when people get a job, it's not their neighbor across the street that was the referral, it's that one removed. So the more
Mm-hmm.
people that we know that can say, oh, hey, I know this person's a good worker, this person has good something, that reference piece, it really goes a long way. Just seeing your son collecting the walnuts, maybe another
Mm-hmm.
farmer or another person part of that. I remember when you did that, but it really builds our confidence, our capacity, the people that we
Yes.
know. I think that is just such a, like I said, just that golden thread that we don't talk about that much, but wow, that is really important. How about skills that matter for your son? He's a new generation. He's going to still be going through all his grade school years. What kind of skills do you think matter the most? Some of them that I have on my notes here are things like communication, creativity, leadership, entrepreneurship. Is it any of those or something completely different?
I think that what's going to matter most in the future is really trustworthiness and being a person of your word because right now with AI, we can't even trust what we're seeing. So we really need to be able to trust the people in front of us and that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. That Kat Casey's going to show up at 7 a.m. with the 500 brownies, like she said, like was in her contract. Because if she didn't show up, that there's a trickle down effect with that too. Now Mr. Adams doesn't trust her, and Mrs. Smith is going to know about it because he's going to be like, "Hey, she didn't show up," things like that. So I think if we can just be a person of your word, don't overcommit, but if you say you're going to do it, you need to do it and you need to do it right. I think that's going to matter in the future a lot.
Yeah, what a wise way to frame that. So, if you could assign every middle schooler one life class, what would it be?
I think it would be life coaching. I think it would be household basics. If I could teach middle schoolers, we don't have to go advanced level budgeting. We don't have to go advanced level daily planning or keeping a house clean immaculately, but how to have a schedule, a routine, how to break it down, how to do it where it works for you. Because not everybody's life looks the same. Not everybody's plan looks the same. Not everybody's schedule looks the same. That's okay. What matters to you, and how can we get a plan to help you achieve that so that you have calm in your life and peace in your life and you're not overwhelmed all the time and stressed out all the time. We want you to just have a plan for your household.
Life coaching for middle schoolers. What could be better?
I know, I'm excited.
I love that. Okay, let's switch to a little bit of advice for parents. A couple questions here. What's one mistake adults make when talking to teens about their careers?
I think from what I've heard is that parents tend to talk at their child or come at them with their own plan in their head, even if they don't say it. The child can feel it, the child knows it. So, my advice would be ask them questions and really listen to the heart behind what they're saying and collaborate with them. Don't just talk at them or tell them what they're going to do and how they're going to do it and what you think they're best at. Really listen to them and collaborate with them, see what ideas they do have and start there, and then keep going with that together.
How can parents encourage exploration without putting pressure on their kids?
I think this is a good one and it's hard to do, but I think if we can just start small, right? What one or two things would you like to do this next semester or this next summer? And then could you go with a friend? Could you shadow a family member, somebody they're already comfortable with? Could you get an internship that's just for a week? It doesn't have to be for 9 or 12 or a year. It can just be for a week. Is there somebody you admire that we could talk to? We got to start small and just get the ball rolling. And I think it will lead into more things the more confident they get and the more information that they have.
That makes a lot of sense. And lastly, what about summer? We're recording this in end of July. People may listen to it at different times of the year, but summer is for me a really great time for kids to build on learning beyond just school. So what would you say for teens would be a great way to help build their confidence for the future in the summer?
I would say start something. Let them be in charge of one meal. Give them the money, maybe take them to the grocery store or they go, depending on their age. Let them plan it start to finish. Let them figure out what we're eating, how much it's going to cost, how much money they need, do all of those things. Do one event. Let them figure out how to do the one lemonade stand, do the wash everybody's trash cans, do the pick up the walnuts. Let them do one project. Let them do one job or one chore and put them completely in charge of it. Let them try something for one week. Just again, start small. It doesn't have to, we don't have to do this the whole summer. We don't have to do 10 weeks of it. Do one week of it. Do one project, one thing.
That's great. I've got two more things to do with you. One of them is I want to do a quick lightning round, but before that, I want to ask you about your program. So, a lot of parents and teens don't know what life coaching is for teens. They think, oh, I have to bare my soul, it's counseling, or it'll take all year. Tell us just a little bit about your program and how it works, and just so that parents and kids can understand what's out there.
For sure. So it's different from counseling. People do get it confused a lot. Counseling is all about your past, processing what you've been through. Life coaching is where are you now? Where do you want to go? And the steps we can take to get there. So that's where I come in and I sit down with them for the first time and I'll talk to them for a while and ask them a ton of questions, get a baseline for where they are, what they want to do, what their hopes and dreams are. And then we figure out over the course of 8 to 10 weeks how to do that. And we go over the basics to make sure they have a pretty good grip on budgeting, what are their needs and values, scheduling time management, just several different things in the program to just make sure that they're ready for life and their future and how to make good choices and figure everything out.
For me, this seems like a huge saver for both time, sweat, money, everything, because I've seen so many kids, my kids' age, kick back from a college that wasn't a right fit or
Mhm.
start on one path and come back to something. So just that heartache they save. And then, of course, if you're paying for college and then they come back from that one, there's so much money lost along the way. So just even 8 to 10 weeks seems like a smart investment in really getting them on the right path.
Yes, if we could do that first before they lose the scholarship or before they decide to change their major their second year or things like that, if we could get them before to be able to get a good grip on what they're doing and what they want to do, and that would be super helpful. A lot of times I get them after they've figured out, oh, that wasn't the right path. Let's get on a different one. So if I could get them before, that would be amazing.
Okay, so before, what's that age? Is what grade are they in typically if you could get them before? Is that when they're a senior or is it when they're freshmen?
It usually is when they're a senior, just because it's a very abstract concept that you're going to have to go out and do all these things on your own until you're a senior for some reason. A lot of kids just don't know. They haven't explored enough freshman, sophomore, even junior year. Now, if you, all the things we talked about, if we could do all that, starting seventh grade year or even younger, then they seem to have a better grasp on what they want to do by their senior year. But most kids right now, especially after COVID in 2020 and all the things that went on there, senior year is usually the best time.
Okay, so if you and I were like getting everybody on the path, we get them
Mm,
started with lemonade stands, farmers market programs, like building businesses, confidence. Then we give them life coaching in middle school, and
yep,
then they'd be ready for a little bit of pathway exploration and onto their right careers. That would be, if we had our dream scenario, that's what we do,
that's
right?
right. The perfect world.
I love it. I love it. And you also, I know you're in Tennessee, I'm in Washington State,
Mhm.
but you do a lot of things virtually so kids anywhere in the country can access your services, correct?
Absolutely. I feel like on the phone, they open up the best because no one's staring at them. They're not feeling any type of judgment or any type of critique or anything. So just get on the phone, create that rapport, and they usually open up pretty good.
And parents are not with them during the sessions, correct? This gets on their own.
Usually, I'll meet the parents. Of course, if they want, they're always welcome to listen in or be on speaker or whatever. But for the most part, 18 and up, they'll talk on the phone all the time.
Yeah, this is an independence builder that they're working direct with you.
Exactly.
Okay, okay. How about a quick fun lightning round before we go? All right, what was your first job?
Very first paid job that I actually made any money at was definitely babysitting because that's how I paid for gas to go anywhere, to go to the movies, to buy any clothes I wanted, get my nails done, get my toes in, all of those things. It's definitely babysitting all the way from 12 years old through after college.
Okay, so this really, you started it when you were 12, but this was
Mhm.
your money. You literally understood, I work an hour taking care of children and then I can go to the movie. That became really clear to you early on.
Yes, definitely. I had a resume for babysitting and definitely took it very seriously.
You had a
And
resume, you had a resume for
yes,
babysitting?
yes, what I did and didn't do and how I kept the kids busy and they didn't just sit and watch TV. And I had, if you wanted me to save in for a weekend, like a long weekend or anything, I had a different fee for that. I was, yeah, very into it.
Okay, okay. So if any of the parents are listening and you're getting ready, if you've got kids that are do well with kids, that's a
Mhm.
great career path. I love that for you. How about the best money lesson you learned growing up?
My parents were big on no debt. They wanted us to leave the house with no debt. They wanted us to work hard, but yes, not take on any debt. So that was huge. I didn't realize it at the time, but it means a lot.
That's a foundational skill to not have that.
Definitely.
Finish this sentence. Success isn't.
I would say success isn't somebody else's dream. I would say figure out what you want and go for it. Even if other people maybe don't understand it, but don't live somebody else's dream. Don't try to please your parent, your brother, your uncle, your whoever that has a dream put on you. I would say find it for yourself and go for it.
I think that's the final word. Thank you so much for coming on the Let's Play Money podcast today.
Awesome. Thank you.
As we wrap up today's conversation, I hope you're encouraged by one simple idea. Helping kids find their path doesn't begin in high school. It begins with experiences, conversations, and opportunities we give them throughout childhood and into their teen years. A special thank you to Tyra Woodall for joining us today. Tyra is a certified life coach who helps teens and young adults move forward with greater clarity, confidence, and purpose as they explore college, careers, and the next steps in life. One thing I love about today's conversation is how our work connects. Through the Little Books of Big Business, I help kids build the foundation, learning about money, leadership, and problem solving through stories. Then, as they grow, coaches like Tyra help them build on that foundation by discovering their strengths and creating a path that's uniquely their own. If today's episode encouraged you, please share it with a parent, grandparent, teacher, or someone who mentors young people. Together, we can raise a generation of kids who are financially capable, purpose-driven, and prepared for whatever comes next. Thanks so much for listening to the Let's Play Money podcast. I'm Coach Mara, and until next time, keep looking for those everyday money moments. They're often the moments that shape a lifetime.